Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, my friends. Welcome, friends of Japanese prints. I'm Dieter Vanschura, and I'm the owner and manager of the Artelino company. And my little company sells Japanese prints in weekly online auctions. And we also produce videos about Japanese prints. Today's video is about a large print series by Kunisada Utagawa, who lived and created prints in the first half of the 19th century. And at the end, well, this is an example from this series. At the end of this video, I will explain to you why this guy has such a reddish face. Well, it looks like he just got his tax return or his girlfriend had run away, but it's not like that at all. But back to this large series. It's called Yakusha Tokaido. Yakusha is the Japanese word for a kabuki actor, and Tokaido is the old road system between Edo, the old name for Tokyo, and Kyoto, the imperial residence. And this series was officially published as a landscape series, and therefore the Tokaido, the landscape in the background, yeah. But why? It was actually meant as a series of kabuki actors. Well, it was made this way to circumvent a censorship ban on kabuki actor prints. And this ban was launched by the ruling Tokugawa shogunate, and it was initiated in 1841 and in 1842. And it is called the Tempo Reforms. And that put a ban on kabuki actor prints. This was all regarded as decadent and as luxury. You must know the Tokugawa family had ruled at that time for nearly 250 years. And it was the end. That this shogunate was at its decline. And this was like a last roaring of the lion, a last attempt to restore the old order. Well, these tempo reforms were passed in 1841 and in 1842. And in the beginning, it affected the publication of ukiyo-e, of Japanese prints, really severely, because the business of ukiyo-e was mainly based on making actor portraits, yeah, and this was no longer allowed. However, after roughly 1850, the enforcement was only loosely pursued, and thus a series like the Yakusha Tokaido could be published without further consequences, because basically it's a joke, yeah. You show huge actors in portraits, and in the background a little bit of landscape, and declared it as a landscape series. Let's talk a little bit more about the series. The Tokaido. The Tokaido series have become famous by another artist, by Ando Hiroshige. During the first half of the 19th century, he was very successful with his series of the Tokaido. And he published overall roughly 20 print series with the Tokaido. And these series always had 55 designs, 55 sheets. The Tokaido, the old road system between Edo and Kyoto, had 53 stations. These stations were basically like today's rest areas along our highways. And there were two more prints. One for each station, and one for the starting point in Edo, and another one for the destination point in Kyoto, so 55. However, the Yakusha Tokaido had more than 150 designs, so you see many stations with two designs, and sometimes some in between the stations, the landscape designs in the background. The names of the actors could not yet be written on the print. That was still a no-no under these censorship laws. So the designers and the carvers, they tried one thing. They tried to make the portraits, to draw the portraits of the actors more individualized, yeah? Not so much stereotype as typical Japanese prints normally show kabuki actors, because people should recognize their heroes by their typical character role and by their facial expressions. The series was published in 1852, and it was very, very popular among the population. Well, my friends, at the beginning of this video, I promised you I would explain to you why this guy has such a red face. Well, when we in our Western Hemisphere watch a film in the movies or on TV, it sometimes may take a while before we recognize who is the good, who is the bad, and who is the ugly. Well, the ugly is not so difficult, but the good and the bad, yeah, it takes a while before we can recognize the real character of a certain role. The Japanese, with their kabuki performances, they made it more easy for the audience. They used a little bit of a trick. They used makeup, kabuki makeup. In Japanese, it's called kumadori. And with this makeup, they express, with the color and the pattern of the makeup, a certain role, yeah, a certain meaning of the actor. Let me explain to you a few basics, which colors have which meaning. Red stands for strength, passion, and energy. Black stands for fear and evil, so a makeup in a kabuki performance in black, that always means that's the villain, that's the bad guy, that's a bad demon. Green stands for a ghost or another supernatural being, and purple stands for nobility. So, well, this guy is not a villain, he's not a ghost, and he's not very noble, but he has a lot of energy and passion, so he's the superhero. Well, with this little introduction to Kumadori, I want to finish this video. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you for our next video. It would be nice to join our auction every now and then. And please take care of yourself and have a good week. Goodbye.